Praise be to Jesus. Hey everyone. Okay, let's continue here. September 11th, 2015. In a dossier, Vatican officials accused the Holy Father of, quote, giving up an important dogma, annulment process, and assert that he has introduced de facto Catholic divorce, argues that Francis circumvented the regulated process for changing legislation for the Universal Church, and that motu proprio, papal commission, had been ordered to keep silent. This decision and others are effectively isolating the Congregation for the Doctrine of the Faith, and that the Pope is steadily making their work superfluous. That's from the National Catholic Register. September 13th. In a radio interview with Marcelo Figueroa, an evangelical Protestant who is a personal friend of the Pope and journalist at Buenos Aires Radio Millennium, Pope Francis said, quote, fundamentalists keep God away from accompanying his people. Oh, that's good. Fundamentalists keep God away from accompanying his people. They divert their minds from him and transform him into an ideology. So, in the name of this ideological God, they kill, they attack, destroy, slander. Practically speaking, they transform that God into a Baal, an idol. No religion is immune from its own fundamentalists. In every religion, there will be a small group of fundamentalists whose work is to destroy for the sake of an idea and not reality. And reality is superior to ideas. Wow, that's really quite a statement, the practical Pope, That's quite a statement. All right, September 13th again. I mean, I could sit and talk about that for quite a while, but that's not the point of what I'm doing here. In a homily, Pope Francis says, Jesus became the greatest sinner without having committed any. Paul tells us he became sin for us. Well, this isn't that same thing as becoming a sinner, though. What is he talking about? He became sin for us by taking on the image, quote, he became the snake. He became sin to save us. This is the message in the liturgy of the Word today, the path of Jesus. That's from Vatican Radio. That's another distortion. Fly. September 20th. Speaking to youth in Havana, Pope Francis did not mention the name of Jesus once. He said, quote, sure, a person sometimes dreams of things that are never going to happen. But dream them, desire them, seek the horizon. Open yourself to great things. Don't be wimpy. Open yourself and dream. Dream that the world with you can be different. Dream that if you give the best of yourself, you are going to help this world be different. Don't forget, dream. If you get carried away and dream too much and life cuts you off, don't worry. Dream and share your dreams. Speak about the great things that you want, because inasmuch as your capacity to dream is greater, when life leaves you only halfway, you will have gone farther. So first dream. When a religion becomes a little covenant, it loses the best that it has. It loses its reality of adoring God, of believing in God. It's a little covenant of words, of prayers, of, quote, I'm good and you're bad, unquote, of moral regulations. I have my ideology, my way of thinking, and you have yours. I close myself in this. little covenant of ideology. Open hearts, open minds. If you are different than me, why don't we talk? Why do we always throw rocks at that which separates us, at that in which we are differing? Why don't we hold hands in that which we have in common? Okay. You can spend a long time on all of these. I mean, I haven't reread I haven't read these before right now, so, I really don't want to take the time to sit here and think about what exactly he's trying to say, but whatever. Here, let's just continue. September 22nd. A journalist asked, quote, "They have already been discussions about a communist pope. Now there are events, those who speak of a pope who isn't Catholic. In the face of these considerations, what do you think?" Pope Francis answered, quote, "A cardinal friend of mine told me that a very concerned woman, very Catholic, went to him. A bit rigid, but Catholic." As if being rigid doesn't make you Catholic anymore. He's changing the whole concept of what Catholicism is. It's amazing. People are falling for it left and right. And she asked him if it was true that in the Bible they spoke of an Antichrist. And she explained it to him. And also in the Apocalypse. No? And then, if it were true that an anti-pope, who is the Antichrist, the anti-pope. But why is she asking me this question, this cardinal asked me? "Because I'm sure that Pope Francis is the anti-pope," she said. "And why does she ask this? Why does she have this idea? It's because he doesn't wear red shoes." All right, so that's from the Catholic News Agency. It all boils down to the red shoes. Oh, really? That's really amazing. Let me check the time. All right, we got a little more time. Arizona mother recalls when her daughter's heart healed after a kiss from Pope Francis. That was in People magazine. September 24th. In a homily at St. Patrick's Cathedral, Pope Francis said, "If at times our efforts and works seem to fail and produce no fruit, we need to remember that we are followers of Jesus, and his life, humanly speaking, ended in failure, the failure of the cross." That's amazing. That's really amazing that the cross was a failure. September 24th. Cardinal Daniels, one of the papal delegates chosen to attend the upcoming Ordinary Synod of the Family, confessed to being part of a radical mafia reformist group opposed to Benedict XVI. He said he was part of a secret club of cardinals opposed to Pope Benedict XVI. He called it a mafia club that bore the name St. Gallen. The group wanted a drastic reform of the church to make it much more modern, that's in quotes, and for Cardinal Jorge Bergoglio to head it. The group, which also comprised Cardinal Walter Casper and the late Jesuit Cardinal Carlo Maria Martini, has been documented in Austin Iverly's biography of Pope Francis, the Great Reformer. Well, yeah, they've admitted that they have a mafia. They call it the mafia themselves, the St. Gallen's Mafia. Yeah. It's all right. September 24th. Pope Francis wants to be president of the world. Francis is also campaigning to lead public, secular, political discourse worldwide. He is arguing that the two realms of faith and politics are one. I just wonder, I wonder if it's possible for Francis to resign. All right, so I believe he's the false prophet, But the false prophet brings the church to the Antichrist, who is a secular person. So wouldn't it be amazing if Francis got to a point and then he resigned and gave up his left the church. Let's say he left the church. He says Catholicism isn't it, or in some way says, this is the church, the one I just formed. And now he's become a secular person, and then he himself becomes the Antichrist. So he's both the false prophet and then later becomes the Antichrist. I mean, that'd be pretty amazing. I don't know if we have time for all that, and given his age, but who knows? Let me see what time it is. It's almost 11 minutes. All right, we're going to stop there. All right, so we'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye.